Tools. My name is Dave, and in this tutorial I want to give you an introduction to data types. So what is data types? What do we mean by the term data types? So I'm sure you've seen the commercials from Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, T-Mobile, all those guys. They're advertising X amount of data for whatever amount. For example, 50 gigabytes of data for $45 a month or whatever it is, unlimited data. And in their context, the word data can mean an image file, movie files, audio files, apps, games, pretty much anything that you're downloading. But there's different kinds of data. An image file is a different type of data than an audio file, for example. So it's a similar idea in computer programming where the term data or data types means a lot of different things. There are different types of data, different kinds of data. And basically in computer programming, when you get down to it, all an application does is crunch data. That's basically all you're doing. You're giving instructions to the computer about how to work with data, or manipulate data, do something to and with data. That is what a program is doing. So in order to work with data, you have to be able to represent data. So you have different types. For example, a whole number. You have to be able to represent a whole number. What would computer programs be without the whole number? What would the world be without a whole number? So you work with whole numbers. Whole numbers have a lot of different purposes in computer programs, anything from counters to keeping up with the position of zombies in a zombie video game. There are 1,000,001 uses for a whole number in a computer program. So you have to be able to represent a whole number, and that's one kind of data. That's one type of data, is a whole number. Also, you'll use, maybe less frequently, but you also use real numbers. Real numbers are, of course, numbers with a decimal value. So you have to be able to represent a real number. And these are very basic types of data. You'll work with more complex types of data in computer programming, but these are the very basic, fundamental types of data. So whole numbers, just a number like 50, 100, 1,000, just a whole number. A real number, a number with a decimal value. And also plain text, just regular text. How would you know the game is over if you didn't see the text game over? That's just plain text. So you have to be able to represent just plain text in the computer program. And that's something that you use a lot. And another type that you may not be familiar with if you're new to computer programming, that's something called a Boolean. Boolean just means true or false. So you have to be able to represent true and false, because very often in computer programming you need to know if something's true or false. There's not much gray area in computer programming. Something's either true or it's false, and you have to be able to represent that. And we do that with a Boolean. It just means true or false. So these are the very basic data types. There are a lot of data types in C#. C# comes with very basic, fundamental data types like whole numbers, representing whole numbers, real numbers, numbers with a decimal value, just plain Jane text, and Boolean. These are just fundamental, basic, built-in data types. And with these data types, you can make more complex data types. And we'll see later on that C# has a lot of more complex data types. But these are the very basic data types. And in the next tutorial, we'll play around with these data types in C#.